Hello, my name is Ane Titari Witiyatawon Wong. Today I'm going to be reviewing 5 books. Firstly, I'm going to be reviewing this book called 202 Jokes of Nasreddin Hoja. Secondly, I'm going to be reviewing a book called The Curious Incident of the Dog at Nighttime, which at this moment I do not have that book, but I've read it in Canada and I really want to share this book to you guys. My third book is going to be this book called James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. The third book is this book, which is in Thai, Charlotte แมงมุมเพื่อนรัก. And my fifth book and my last book is Falling Up, and it's a book full with poems and drawings, and it is both by Shel Silverson. So let's start with my first book. So my first book is 202 Jokes of Nasreddin Hoja. This book is about a scholar named Nasreddin Hoja. He is from Turkey, but he's not only popular in just Turkey, but in the whole Middle East. And he is a very humorous person. He teaches people in humorous ways and contains some jokes. People call them jokes. Some of them are kind of funny, but some of them are not really. But still, it was fun to read. Nasreddin Hoja is actually not his real name. It's a given name, honored to say that he is a scholar or a learned person. And he has a white turban and a white beard, which makes him look more respectful. So this book contains many jokes and stories of his lifetime. So there will be stories in each pages and a picture describing the situations from each phrase, each text. I will show you my favorite part, which is this one, a generous tip. One day, Hoja went to a Turkish bath. Since he was poorly dressed, the attendants didn't really treated him like wise, giving him only a small soap and a torn towel. When he finished the bath, Hoja gave those workers a gold coin each, and the workers were amazed that they give really bad service. Why did Hoja give him so much money? And they just feel like, how about if they did better work to Hoja? They might even get more money. So a week later, Hoja went back to that bath place again, and this time the workers treated him like a king, as this picture described. But after that, Hoja didn't give him more money. He gave the attendants just a small silver coin, copper coin, and the attendants looked very disappointed. So Hoja said that these copper coins are for the last time, and the gold coins were for this time. The story teach moral to people that we should treat everyone equally. We should be respect to everyone, whatever they're poor or they're rich, however they looked, how they're old or they're younger. We should treat them fairly and equally. So this story I really like because it teaches me really well and it's really easy to understand. By the way, I got this book from my grandparents as a souvenir when they visited Turkey. Moving on to my second book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. It is written by Mark Haddon. This book is a mystery novel book. it is about a boy named Christopher. He is diagnosed with autism spectrum condition, and he acts kind of like a 7-year-old boy. He lives with his father and not with his mother. His father told him that his mother was dead, and so the story started with him finding this dog dead in a neighbor's garden. The dog is Wellington. It got stabbed by a gardening fork, and he just wants to investigate about the dog's death, and his father told him not to stick his nose into others' business, but however he still wants to know about the dog's death, and he wrote a book, and he's writing a book about the dog's death. And one day his father discovered that he was not listening to him. He was writing a book about the dog. So his father kept that book and told him not to write about it. Of course, Christopher wants to write about it again still. So he went to get his book back, and he found out many letters to him, and it said that it is from his mom, and the date was after his mom's death that his father told. So of course he would be curious, and he got those letters to read, and he found out that his mom was actually still alive, and she's now living in London with his new husband and Mr. Shears. So then his father found out that he already knew that his mom is still alive. So his father, yes, appreciated that he was sorry that he lied to him, and he also told Christopher that he was the one who killed Wellington. Christopher was very frightened that his father was the one who killed Wellington, and maybe one day that he might be killed from his father as well. So he was scared, and he decided to move out of his house, escape, ran out to find a way to London to find his mom, and using the address from the letter. It was a long adventure, and he finally met his mom. So he found his mom living in an apartment with her new husband, and he was talking about an exam that he has to take. It's the A-level math exam, and he said that he really had to go back to Swindon, his old town, because he needs to take this exam. As you know that he's this boy with autism condition, so he does not really make that good decision. He was really willing to do that exam, although that he actually shouldn't go back to Swindon or so. He convinced his mom to go back. So his mom brought him to go back to Swindon, and he has to be with his dad. And his dad met his mom, and his dad tried to come back together with Christopher so that they could be a family again. And so the story wasn't really important at that part, but at the end, Christopher passed the A-level math exam, and his father tried to come closer to him. How long would it take? He still wants to be with him. His dad brought him a golden retriever dog, and his life was just being just better with staying as a family together. So that is the end of the story, and so the end of the story made me want to know what will happen after that, because it's not clearly like happy ending, but it's still a good end. So this is about the books, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Alright, moving on. This is my third book. It is the James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. I wanted to read this book because I used to sing a song from the musical James and the Giant Peach, and I found this book in the bookstore, so I was excited to read it. It is about a boy named James. He lived with two of his mean aunts named Sponge and Spiker. So he wasn't really living a happy life until one day he found out that the old peach tree had grew a very, very large tree. It's like the size of a house. So he decided to go and see inside of it because he found a hole, and he went inside of that hole and found many creatures that has the size of himself. Like there are some grasshoppers and those kind of insects, and they wanted to escape from Sponge and Spiker. So they all went rolling and rolling down a hill, floating on the sea, flying from the seagulls pulling them, until they ended up in top of a skyscraper in New York City. I would like to note that they actually started in England. So after being on top of the skyscraper, they was very famous after that, all of them. James lived in New York City in the Peach Corps, and there was the centipede who opened a shoe factory, and the other creatures were just living a very happy life. James, from having no friends, he ended up having so many friends that he couldn't imagine how many he would have. And inside of this story, they also include some poems and songs. I would sing one part to you. Aunt Sponge was terrifically fat and tremendously flabby at that. Her tummy and waist were soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat. So it made this book more enjoyable and sounds more fun, and I really enjoy reading this book. This book is Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. There's a picture of him. I got this book from my aunt as a present, or as a souvenir from the United States. This book has some poems and pictures to look at while you're reading the poems, and I think my aunt brought this for me so that as I was a really small child, I could make my mom read it and I look at the illustrations. But now I could already read it on my own, so I'm reading it for ever since. So I would choose some poems that I like and are interesting. There is a voice inside of you that whispers all day long. I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside. It also teaches you some moral as well. So as this poem teaches about your decision and stuff. And there are also some fun poems, kind of funny-ish. Sharing. I'll share your toys. I'll share your money. I'll share your toast. I'll share your honey. I'll share your milk and your cookies too. The hard part, sharing mine with you. This is kind of funny because it is really true that I like to share things from other people, but it's hard for me to share things that I owe to other people. And here's the last one. All for balance. Balancing my ABCs takes from noon to 3:30. I don't have time to grab a tea or even stop to take a pee. The last book is in Thai. It is called ชาลอตแมงมุมเพื่อนรัก It is originally in English, but it is translated. The original version is by E.B. White, and it is translated by Kana Kasha. And so my mom used to read this book when she was at my age, so she introduced the book to me, and I liked it too. It is about a pig named Wilbur. He lives in a farm and has no friends until he met with a spider. Her name is Charlotte. Wilbur been friends with Charlotte until when he grew bigger, the owner of Wilbur wants to kill him for meat, and Wilbur was very scared, and Charlotte promised Wilbur that he will try her best to not let Wilbur be killed. She made Wilbur to be a special pig by she weaved her webs and weave them into words that like Wilbur is a special pig. And so as Wilbur's owner came and saw that, they decided to not kill Wilbur because they really think that Wilbur is a special pig. Wilbur went to competitions, and one day it was Charlotte, and it was successful to them, and Wilbur went to competitions, and Charlotte lay eggs, and it is the nature that after the spider laid eggs, they would have to die because it is the nature, and Charlotte told Wilbur that, so Wilbur was very sad, but he decided to take Charlotte's egg from the competition back to the farm so that Wilbur could stay with and take care of Charlotte's children's, so he could do something back to Charlotte, as Charlotte did so many things to Wilbur. And it is the end of the story that there were just so many spiders being with Wilbur, and still Wilbur is never lonely again. It is the end of the book, and I really, really like it. This is the end of my book report and review. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my video, and thank you very much.